Hello, friends. We are starting with the chapter number 7, and in this session, we will learn how we can call Web API using jQuery in MVC application. So this is the chapter number 7, and I think this is the sixth video in the uh, ASP.NET Web API series. Okay. So far we have created a web APIs, right? And we have called them from Fiddler. So in this session, we will see how we can do the same thing using jQuery. Okay. So to understand this thing, I am going to take new project. Okay. So let's take a new project. So make sure always whenever you are working with Visual Studio 17, you have to open this in the Run as administrator. Okay. So from here, we are taking ASP.NET Web application. Web API jQuery. Okay. From here, I am taking Web API application, and you can see that here MVC and Web API checked. So it is mean that this is the combination of Web API and MVC application. So we can have like MVC Web API together in the same application. So in this document, we have given here a simple example. So they have shown here us how we can design any simple web page and how we can call uh, web API from jQuery. Okay, so they have given that jQuery syntax here. So we will implement these things in the Visual Studio. Okay, and this is the syntax of Ajax call. So we will see these things. Okay, so project is created and we have this all folders available here. So as we know in the app start, we have web API config file, right? And in web API config file, we have this setting like API slash controller slash then ID. So I'm modifying this too. We have already like modified this in our previous project. So let's take a reference from there. So I'm taking this setting for web API URL routing. Okay. In this we have a API, then slash we have a controller in our URL, and then we have to mention the action. Okay. So that is the only difference which we have made here. Okay. So this is the project where we are working on. So these are this is controller folder where we add our all controllers. So I am adding here one new controller. We will call it masters. And in this masters controller, I have taken MVC controller. Okay, you must have seen when we selected this, right? So this my controller name is masters, and here we can take one action method. So the syntax is the same which they have given here. So here we have to just name our action method. So action method name is item master. Okay. Now if now we have to add view. So to add view, we have to right click on this method name, your action name, and say add view. Okay. And here they have used layout page, but we are not using this for now. So uncheck this checkbox and say add. So once you will add a view, so it will create one HTML page which is having .cs HTML extension. Okay, and this is created inside views, inside your master folder, inside the master folder. This .cs HTML page is created. Okay, so here inside the view, the folders will be created according to your controller name. So your controller name was masters, right? Here is your controller name. So it has created that master folder here inside view, and inside that it has created one view as per our action, right? So here you can see that when we have taken MVC controller, so it is inherited from a controller class, and when we take web API controller, so basically it is inherits from API controller class, right? So if you go to our previous project, you can see that we took this API controller, right? And it was inherited from API controller, right? Now, the next thing we have to do here, we have to add one web API controller. So I have added this. Now let's add one web API controller. So right click here and go to controller. So for MVC, we took this template, MVC5 empty controller, right? For web API, we have to select this web API to controller empty, right? So I will say item master API. Okay, so here we have added one item master API controller, which is inherited from API controller. So I'm reusing this code which we used in our previous project. Okay, so let's copy paste this code. Let me copy paste it. So here we need this model class, and from this class API controller, we are taking all these actions. So let's take these things here. Let's build this once. So here it is showing rebuild all started, and it is showing it is succeeded, right? So it is mean that there is no error inside our API controller, right? Now let's test one web API like get method. So we will make sure our web API is working, right? Okay. So let's run the application. Okay, this is the domain name which is runtime created from .NET framework, right? Now the URL pattern for web API is like API slash controller name slash action name, right? So API slash controller name is what is the controller name? Item master API, right? So this is the controller name, and slash your method. So we have to call here get method, right? So let's call it. So it is getting called, right? And we got result in the XML format. So it is mean that our web API project is like set up successfully, and we are able to get the result here, right? Now, what I have to do here is like I have to load the page which we just created, and this page, this is that page which we have to load. So here I will say like h1 in h1 tag item master page. As I said, this is like combination of MVC and WebAPI application, right? So if I have to load this page, what I have to do, I have to go to root config. For web API, we are going into the web API config, right? And for MVC applications, we are going into the root config file. So here we have to mention the action, sorry, controller name and action name. So our controller name is, now we have to find our controller, that is master controller, right? This is my MVC controller. So I will say here masters, and inside that our action name is item master. So this is how we can load our uh, page which we have to load it. So it will load this item master.cshtml page. Let's run this again. I'm expecting it should run that this page, and here we have written item master page. Okay, so now you can see that it has loaded that page, and here you can see that in the URL your domain name slash your controller name slash your action name. So if you go to root config, this is the, it is called root config. So you can say, so this is the route config where we have given the controller name and then we have given the action name, right? Okay, so this is how we can load our page. Okay, now what we have to do here is we have to call web API using jQuery from this page. Okay, and we have to get the result and we have to test it. So to work with the jQuery, we have to add one script file in the head section. So you can see that in the item master.cshtml page inside the head section, I am taking that jQuery file. So from here you can take any file which is like which name is like jQuery, then version.js or min.js. So I'm taking this one. You can just drag it inside the code and it will automatically add the reference. So the syntax of adding jQuery reference is like script, then src equal to your file path and then slash script and tag. Okay, now we have to write jQuery code. So to write jQuery code inside our HTML page, we have to add script tag to write jQuery code. Okay, and inside that jQuery code, we have to add document.ready function. So jQuery is case sensitive and make sure the spellings uh, should not like wrong or it is, as I said, it is case sensitive. So you cannot use D capital. It should be always so small, right? So this is the ready function from jQuery. So it will call whenever the page is loaded. Okay. And inside that jQuery function, ready function, we are writing one callback function. This is called callback function. At the end, we have to add semicolon. Okay. So we will test it if it is working or not. So we are putting here alert. Okay. So project is already running and we have written some client scripting code. So we don't need to like end the project and build it again. So we can directly reload this. Just click here, press Ctrl F5 and you will find the result. Okay. You can like here hit enter on the browser. So it will reload the page and we can see that it is showing jQuery function got called, right? So it is mean that that function is getting called, right? And this function get called when after the whole HTML page is loaded. Okay. So instead of this alert, what we have to do here is we have to write our Ajax call function. Okay. So we have that code ready. We will use this. So this is the jQuery Ajax call syntax. So in inside this, we have a like type parameter, then URL, then data, content type, data type, and then success and failure functions. So we will see these things. So make sure whenever you are writing syntax of jQuery, these are case sensitive. So it has some technique. You have to follow these things. So here, this is the syntax. So what I am doing here, I have typed here Ajax and then round bracket. Then finally, I have put semicolon, and inside that I am using square bracket. So this is how we define the syntax, and inside that we have to define our parameters. So you will get intelligence also if your syntax is correct, right? So this is how we can type our syntax, right? Then URL colon your URL name. So URL name we have to change here. Okay. So we will use the existing syntax which is given here, right? So inside this, we have to define our API method type. So our web API method type is get. Let me open the web API. Okay. So we have to call this method. So our API type is HTTP get, right? So that's why I'm given here method type get. Then URL, we have to give the URL which we are using to like access this web API, right? So my URL was, we have to run this. We have to, let me go to the project. So this is my URL, right? Let's type it here. Okay, this is the URL, but here they have given like that MVC controller and action name. So here we have to give our web API controller and action name. So my controller name is API controller, right? And action name is get slash get. Let's test this URL uh, from browser. So let's do it once. So once you will hit it, you can see that it is working and it is able to access the result, right? Now come to the our jQuery code and copy this URL to this URL uh, parameter, right? Now, so data is the parameter which is used to send the data to the server. Here we have some methods which are having some parameters, right? So to pass these parameters from the jQuery, we use this data parameter. Then content type, we have seen these things in the previous session in content negotiation. So which type of content we are going to set, we can mention here. Then we can mention here your character set these things. Okay. Then data type. So data type means what? In which format we are going to get the result from the server. Then success is the function. Well, this it will get called when your web API will successfully get the data and bring request to the browser. Okay, so it will get called. And inside this, we have taken one variable result. So whatever your web API has written, you will get into your result variable, and we have printed this here in the alert box. So we will see what that alert box shows us in the alert on the browser, right? So we have our project is already running. Let's go to browser and we have to call our MVC URL, right? Because our jQuery code is available on the MVC URL. So let's control F5. Okay, so it has called, right? So it has called now using our jQuery code, right? So it will return the list of this value one, value two, right? So it is returning basically this list. and we got this list values into the our alert box, which we have mentioned here in the alert, right? So this is how we can call web API from jQuery. Okay, I am like stopping the project, and we will rerun this once. So here is my HTML page, like itemmaster.cshtml, right? And in the our root config file, I have given masters and item master as our startup page. So it will find this controller and this action. So my MVC controller is master controller, and inside this I have item master view action, and that item master view is tightly bound with this view. This is my item master CSHTML view. Inside that we have taken, I am removing this from here. We have taken document already function. Here we have given the jQuery reference, right? And inside that jQuery we have Ajax call syntax. Ajax call has some parameter. We have set this parameter. We have set this URL, and this URL points to our this API controller, right? API controller, and this get method, right? So this is how we have called web API. So let's run project again and test it. So as I said, this document.ready function is getting called when the page is loaded. So as soon as the page loaded, it calls API and it gets the result from web API. Okay, so it has called. So this is how we can get it. We can also see this result in the browser developer tool. If you click F12 on the browser, you will get this window opened on your machine, right? So this is the XHR tab which comes under network, right? So under network we have XHR tab, then JS, CSS. So if want all tabs, then you can select this all option. If we want a specific XHR, so we can select XHR. So basically XHR shows us all the Ajax call request, all the web API request in the browser. So you have to come here and you have to just control F5. So it will call your web API, and you can see that it is showing your request here, right? So it is showing like 200. The same thing we have seen using Fiddler. We will compare these things once with the Fiddler. So this is my Fiddler, right? And from Fiddler, what did we do previously? We called this URL from Fiddler, right? And when we called it from Fiddler, we were getting results into the Fiddler, right? So here was the like response, and here we saw this all things, right? So here it is showing like result equal to 200. This is your success result, right? Here it is showing us your data which the web API has written, right? The same thing we can do on the browser also. So here we have a response. Once you click on that, you can see that header parameter preview response, right? So response is in the JSON format, right? So you can debug these things from our like browser also. So the result will be displayed here. One more thing I would like to tell you, like we have here we have taken one alert, and again we have taken here console.log. So console.log basically write log inside your console tab inside the browser. Okay, so here we can see that we have like written same result into the console, so it is visible in the console tab. So this the developer tools comes when you click F12 on the browser, right? So once you will click F12, you will get these things. So here you have a element, then console, then sources, network. So inside network, you have to always select your XHR tab. I'm removing that debugger from this location. So whenever you will come here, you will find some kind of windows here. So you have to close these things if it is there, and you can simply control F5 the page, and it will make the request, right? If the Ajax request is there, it is showing us that URL also when we hover on that get request, right? So it is showing your data here, right? So this is how we can debug the same thing using browser. Okay, so this is the web API code. which we have used only this method for Ajax call, and this is our MVC controller, which is having this action method, and we have created this view. Inside this view, we have taken jQuery reference inside the head section, and we have taken script function tag to like write jQuery code. So inside that, we have taken that document authority function, and inside that we have Ajax call uh, syntax, right, to call the web API. Okay, so this is how we can call web API from jQuery. So in future, we are going to like call web APIs using jQuery for our DML operations like insert, update, delete, these things. Okay. Okay, so this all in was in this session.